Hi, welcome back to my statistics class. So today we're going to talk about median and interquartile range. Remember when we talk about the center and the spread, when it comes to scale data, we want to use median and interquartile. But if it's a symmetric data, we want to use what? We want to use mean and the standard deviation. Okay. So what is median? Median, also is called Q2, is the median value of the 50 percentiles, which means 50% of the data are below that value. So first quartile, which is Q1, is the 25th percentile, which means 25% of the data are below that value. Third quartile is 75th percentile, 75th percentile, which is 75% of data are below that value. So we have five number summary, which is describe the minimum, Q1, which is the 25th percentile, median, 15th percentile, which is median, Q3, and the maximum value for the data set. So now let's take a look at our data set 1. If we have odd value, so now it will be easier if we can find, first of all, you always, when you see a data set, you always want to sort that, or we order the data set from the smallest number to the largest one. So now look at here. The easiest number to find is what? The minimum and maximum. So minimum is the first data. So the maximum is here, the largest data. Okay, so and then the second easy one to find is going to be the median, right? The median is the center of the data. Since this is odd value of the data, so we have median here, which is equal to 12. And now let's find Q1 and the Q3. So now we cut this data. So in between, from the minimum to median, what will be the center? From minimum to the median, the center is going to be our Q1. And then, how do we find Q3? Q3 is similar, from 15% to 100%, which is the maximum. And then you find the median of that, which is our 75th percentile, which is our Q3. That's how you find it. So let's write it in here. We have for our data set 1, data set A, we have minimum of 3, Q1 is 8, median is 12, maximum, we have a Q3, Q3, which is 15, and then maximum 18. Okay, now let's look at our data set B, which have even number of the value. So now take a look. Okay, so again, let's find the minimum first. So the minimum, after you sorted the data, minimum will be the smallest number, which is 3. Maximum is the biggest number. Okay, median. How do you find median? Median, this is an even number value. When you find median, you're trying to find what? The center of the middle, the average of the middle two value. So in this case would be 13.3, the average of 12 and 15. So this is going to be our median. So what about Q3 and Q1? So I'm going to use a different color of pen. So from minimum to median, we have here, when we try to find the center from the minimum to median, which is 8. So this is going to be our Q1. Similarly, after medium, which is here, and in between medium to maximum, you want to find the center of it. So the center would be what? This one. 18. This is our Q3. So let's write it down. For data set B, we have minimum of 3. Q1 is 8, medium is 13.3, and the Q3 is 18, maximum is 20. Okay, so what's range? Range is described between the minimum and the maximum value. So what's the data range? Okay, so for data set B, the range of data set B equals to the maximum, which is 20, minus the minimum 3, which is 17. So now what about data set A? So use the same method. We find out the maximum, which is 18, and the minimum is 3. So we have 18 minus 3, which is equal to 15. So the range of data set A is 15. Okay, so interquartile range. Interquartile range is the middle 50% of the data. You think about how to attain 50%. Remember, Q3 is 70% of the data value below. 70% of the data below that value. And Q1 is 25%. So you use 15% minus 25%, you will attain 50% of the data. Basically, it's Q3 minus Q1. So the interquartile range, which is IQR of data set A, equals to Q1 minus Q3 minus Q1. Q3 equals to here 15. Q1 equals to A. So we have 15 minus A. So the interquartile range equals to 7. And then the interquartile range of data set B, let me use different color, equals to 18 minus 8. Okay. So what if we change dataset B to 205? How does the fine number summary change? Okay, and the range and the IQR. So let's list all of the fine number summary and the IQR. Okay, so fine number summary, we have, let's write down the before. So before it changed, dataset is 3, 8, 12, 15, 18, and 20. So we have an outlier. Okay, outlier 205. So now let's find out what's the minimum, Q1, medium, Q3, and the maximum. Before, we just found it earlier, the minimum is 3, Q1 is 8, medium is 13.5, Q3 is 18, but maximum is 20. After, let me change the color. After, we should have the same minimum, but maximum changed to 205. But what about the medium? Medium still the average of this middle two number, which is 13.3. And this is also our Q1, 8. And our Q3 remained the same, 18. Okay, so that means the maximum changes. So now let's take a look at the range. So the range equals to what? The maximum subtract the minimum. So before that, before we change the data, before there's an outlier in the data, we have 20 minus 3, which is the range, equals to 17. And IQR equals to Q3 minus Q1, which is 10. What about after? Let's find out. So the range from this after is, we have the range from 205 minus 3, which is 202. But IQR, which is Q3, subtract Q1, remain the same, which is 10. That means what? So we can summarize that. That's why we can say, hey, the outlier doesn't affect the fine number summary, or IQR, but the range of the data is going to be affected by the outliers. That's why we want to, when there's a skilled data set, we want to use IQR and IQR. We want to use IQR and the median to describe the data. Okay, so that's it for today. Let me know if you have any other questions.